Welcome to the Tech Mobility Podcast.
I'm Ken Chester. On the docket, why public transportation is safer, more F&I products at the dealership, and how Gen Z is changing our coffee habits. To add your voice to the conversation, call or text the Tech Mobility Hotline. That number, 872-222-9793, or you can email the show directly, talk@techmobility.show. Also, be sure to subscribe, like, and follow us on social media, our YouTube channel, and our two podcasts, the Tech Mobility Podcast and Tech Mobility Topics. And by the way, if you're a subscriber to Substack, you can also find us there too, at Ken Chester, or my handle at Ken, the letter C, the word Iowa, IOCA. So that's at Ken C, Iowa. You can find me there also. From the Tech Mobility News Desk, with all the challenges of personal identification, used to be, in the good old days, people would just, kind of steal your identity. They'd go out and they'd steal your social security number or your credit card numbers, or they'd hack something and get that information. Those were the good old days, if you can believe it. And it caused people a lot of problems. Identity theft was a big deal, still is, with a number of companies that have stepped up to protect, quote unquote, your identity for a fee. What happens if you are trying to buy a vehicle and the dealership is trying to prove, and this is real, that you're a real person and not a synthetic identity, or worse, that you are really who you say you are, that it's really you? Recent automotive news article talks about avoiding deep fakes in the dealership. And the question that I ask for you to consider, are you a deep fake? Auto dealers want to know. Let me give you some context. Typically, this has a lot to do with online or digital communications between the dealership and the prospective vehicle buyer. They have a way, with all the technology that's available now, to totally create a fake personality down to looks, words, voice, likeness, everything. The whole purpose, as always, it's all about money. It's all about stealing the vehicle and defrauding the dealer or the manufacturer. That's always been the thing. But let me take this one step further that would be very chilling. And the article doesn't quite go this far, but with technology, and we talk about technology here on the show every single week. We've talked about deep fakes. We've talked about AI. We've talked about agentic AI as opposed to generative AI, the next level of AI sophistication. The increasing sophistication of ChatGPT and their ilk, Midjourney and others. What if, because they said this could do it, if a criminal wanted to impersonate you, okay, most people have Facebook entries where maybe you've even recorded a little video talking about a major achievement or a trip you've been on, sharing family news or anything. They got your face, they got your voice. What if they took that information and created a digital copy of you? Sounds like you, looks like you, but you had no knowledge, no authorization. Did you give to these people or anything? And somebody's out there taking your credit in your name to defraud a dealership for a vehicle they plan to disappear with and stick you with it. And you're saying, oh no, that could never happen. Let me talk to you about this article. Modern scammers are using artificial intelligence to replicate voices and faces in calls and videos, opening up a new realm of auto finance fraud. Scammers are employing deep fake technology for off-site deliveries. That means delivering it to a site off the dealer property. These scams on off-site deliveries of vehicles are costly to a dealership. In a deepfake video, a scammer swaps one person's face for another using a facial recognition algorithm and machine learning. Everyday videos and posts and photos posted online and in social media can be used by scammers to create deep fakes. Scammers who create the deep fake identities then use the video technology to communicate with the dealership during the off-site delivery process. In other words, if they could do this completely digitally and deliver the vehicle, that vehicle is going to disappear, the person doesn't exist, and they have no way of tracking who it was. Particularly if they do a little digging and they find out either that person doesn't exist or the person that they replicated has no knowledge and can prove it. That's the scary thing going on. Used to believe that you believed everything you saw and only half of what you heard. In today's world, you can't believe anything digitally that you see or hear, even if it's in the voice of somebody that you know and trust. It may not actually be them. Dealerships and cybersecurity professionals in the automotive industry are sounding the alarm to dealerships around the country. And unfortunately, finance and insurance people are the first and last line of defense in trying to figure out if this deal is legitimate, if it's real, if this person is who they say it is. And they're training them if they're in action with somebody online, even in a video chat, what to look for. Key, earlier renditions of AI-generated videos, usually the gimmick is the hands. It doesn't have the hands quite right, or the backgrounds are not quite right. There are tricks, but these are getting better and better and better with each iteration. And if you're a scammer bent on defrauding a dealership, you're spending the best money to get the best iteration, or you've got programmers yourself that you're paying to develop this stuff in real time. And yes, this is turning into billions of dollars worth of theft if the dealers can't catch it. Not to mention the people that they're mimicking. Maybe somebody in their own community, maybe even somebody the dealership has done business with before down through the years. That's where this is going. And with off-site companies like Carvana, Vroom, others, Drive, where they specialize in bringing the dealership to you, the risk for them is exceptionally high because they have to develop a whole group of technologies and cybersecurity protocols that they didn't have to even 3-4 years ago. But now, because the average price of a new car is $50,000, somebody decides to defraud you out of one or two Escalades, you're $200,000, you're almost $250,000. You replicate that over the country and it gets to be millions of dollars really fast. And it doesn't take all that. And the worst part about it, you don't have to buy the most exotic, expensive vehicles to get to those numbers. If you are going to be buying a car, SUV, minivan, EV, doesn't matter, in the next few years, and you don't like dealerships, and most people, hey, I'm strange, I love to go to the dealership, but most people don't. Don't be surprised if, in fact, the dealer still allows off-site delivery. Number two, one of the big ways that they will check this is they will require at least one in-person visit. They want to see you face-to-face, nose-to-nose. It's one way that they can put the scammers in check. There has to be at least one. So even if you have no intentions of availing yourself at the dealership, you want to do it at your home, far away from the dealership, just remember this. The dealer is going to be, if they've got the training right, adamant about you showing up at least once, particularly if they don't know you. And anymore, even if they do. That is how good the scammers are getting. This is how good the technology is getting. Despite what you may have heard, it's actually safer to ride public transportation than to drive. You are listening to the Tech Mobility Show.
Are you tired of juggling multiple apps and platforms for meetings, webinars, and staying connected? Look no further than AONmeetings.com, the all-in-one browser-based platform that does it all. With AON Meetings, you can effortlessly communicate with clients, host virtual meetings and webinars, and stay in touch with family and friends, all in one place and for one price. Here's the best part. You can enjoy a 30-day free trial. It's time to simplify your life and boost your productivity. AONmeetings.com, where innovation meets connection. Get started today and revolutionize the way you communicate.
Social media is the main place to be these days, and we are no exception. I'm Ken Chester, the Tech Mobility Show. If you enjoy my program, then you will also enjoy my weekly Facebook videos. From my latest vehicle reviews to timely commentary of a variety of mobility and technology-related topics, these short features are designed to inform and delight you. Be sure to watch, like, and follow us on Facebook. You can find us by typing the Tech Mobility Show in the search bar. Be sure to subscribe to our Facebook page. Social media is the place to be these days, and we're no exception. I'm Ken Chester of the Tech Mobility Show. If you enjoy my program, then you will also enjoy my weekly Instagram videos. From the latest vehicle reviews to timely commentary on a variety of mobility and technology-related topics, these short features are designed to inform and delight you. Be sure to watch, like, and follow us on Instagram. You can find us by typing the Tech Mobility Show in the search bar. For those of you that listen to podcasts, we have just the one for you. Hi, I'm Ken Chester. Tech Mobility Topics is a podcast where I upload topic-specific videos each week. Shorter than the full show, these bite-sized programs are just the thing, particularly if you're interested in a particular topic covered on the weekly radio show. From Apple Podcast to iHeartRadio and many podcast platforms in between, we got you covered. Just enter Tech Mobility Topics in the search bar wherever you listen to podcasts.
Looking for high performance?
Any way you want.
Escort GT, Pro, Mustang, Thunderbird, Taurus, SE, and SHO, all priced to move.
Anywhere you go.
The hottest performance cars around, like Ford Mustang, can only be found at your local Ford dealer.
Anytime, anyway, anyhow.
And right now, you can lease a 95 Ford Thunderbird for only $247 a month, and it's loaded with extras. Just $247 a month.
Ford is right for you.
Now that's performance, and it's only from your local Ford dealer.
Ford was trying to turn every passenger car that they had into a sports car. Obviously, Mustang, yes, that makes sense. T-Bird, well, considering the frame it was on at the time, okay, I'll even let you run with that. It's a big platform, okay. But honestly, Escort, the Ford Escort, no. Ford built the Escort in 1981. It was designed to be what they call their world car. It was supposed to be their world economy car that they could build for every market across the world. Didn't work out that way. They ended up actually globally with two different Escorts, one for the United States and one for the rest of the world. But to take that little platform and think that somebody is actually going to pay money for a performance version of it, not as far-fetched as you think, because they were doing that to Dodge Omnis and Plymouth Horizons, which literally, when you say the word Econobox, these things were Econoboxes. And that was the big deal. You know, everybody wanted a little taste of performance. So the automakers dressed them up and tweaked them a little bit and got a lot more money for them. So it's something the automakers have always done and continue to do. But that was from 1995. I want to leave you with the thought of a Ford Escort GT. Just put that in your mind for a minute, because it just doesn't work out. Trust me, it just doesn't. Now, for this segment, it comes by way of an article in Scientific American magazine. The title of the article is "These Charts Explain Why Public Transit is Safer Than Driving." And the opening statement is, quote, "The rates of fatal crashes and crime are both lower on public transportation than on roadways. Even if you were willing to go with the first one, you're going to argue with me and say maybe that second one's a reach. But this is Scientific American. We investigate the claim. This is topic A. Let's keep things in perspective for a moment. In public transportation, whether it be a trolley, a bus, a subway, it's going according to an established route, day in, day out, on a schedule. How it does, what it does, and when it doesn't vary much. When you get into your vehicle and you get into traffic with other people in their vehicles, you may attest for your driving professionalism and prowess, but you can't speak for everybody else around you. You got to take that on faith. You got to take, number one, that they're paying attention. Number two, that they know how to drive. And number three, there's not either a medical condition or a mental condition that may color, shade, or impact their responses to things that happen on the open road, which could escalate into some sort of violence, i.e. road rage. Kind of hard to get road rage in public transportation. I mean, relative to where it would impact you. When I was going to college in Boston, I didn't own a car for my whole college career. Didn't need to. If I had to travel anywhere within 40 miles of Boston, and their network is considerably larger now than it was then, all you needed was the right level of pass, and you could ride just about anything, go just about anywhere. And the schedule was realistic enough to where you could get there and back. And I got to tell you, for all the miles that I rode, and this is back in the 70s, for all the mileage I rode on the Massachusetts Bay Transportation Authority, as a country boy, including when I was working late and falling asleep on the train, I mean out cold, I was never beat up. I was never robbed. I never had either one of those problems. And this is late 1970s in Boston, in the city. Just so we're clear. So I can attest to some of this. Now, according to the article, there's a common perception in the U.S. that taking public transit is dangerous. And you hear about the exceptions. But what the article says is what you hear about in the media is the exception, not the rule. And if you look at the thousands, if not millions of people, I mean, just take Boston, Washington, New York, and Chicago. Just those four cities, the thousands of people, in the tens of thousands, in the millions over a course of a year that take it to work, home, family affairs, going to visit folk every single day. There's a lot less of crime, accidents, and problems. In reality, a closer look shows the safety risks of taking public transportation are relatively low. According to the data, driving a car in the United States is far more dangerous than taking public transit in terms of crash risk and crime. Let me give you numbers. And they've equalized these numbers so it's more apples and apples between cumulative mileage in public transportation and cumulative mileage driven. Motor vehicles in rural areas, they're looking at 2022, both vehicle occupant and non-occupant. 16.8 fatalities per billion passenger miles. Motor vehicles in urban areas, same year, 11.5 fatalities per billion passenger miles. Rail transit, these numbers are a little older for rail traffic. 5.9 fatalities per billion passenger miles. And it comes with a note, which I thought was a little odd, so I'll read you the note. The majority of non-occupant rail fatalities represent people who died by suicide. People who maybe willingly walked off a platform, sat on the train tracks. Yeah. Bus transit. This number is from 2021, 4 years ago. 2.8 fatalities per billion passenger miles. 1/8 of car fatalities. 1/8 by bus. 1/3 by rail. And again, this is not some fluff liberal magazine. This is Scientific American. I'm reading this straight out of. Their research puts public transit death or injury rate at about 1/10 that of car travel. 1/10. And the neighborhoods oriented more around public transit have about 1/5 overall traffic deaths per capita of car-oriented neighborhoods. One important factor is that communities with better public transit often tend to be more compact and walkable or cyclable, which makes them safer. Also, if you're on public transportation, you don't have a problem with texting while driving while drunk, all that stuff. You're on public transportation. Someone else is doing the driving for you. Food for thought. The F&I department of the local new car dealer is offering additional products to part you from your money. We discuss. This is the Tech Mobility Show. Do you listen to podcasts? Seems that most people do. Hi, I'm Ken Chester, host of the Tech Mobility Show. If you've missed any of our weekly episodes on the radio, our podcast is a great way to listen. You can find the Tech Mobility Podcast just about anywhere you can enjoy podcasts. Be sure to follow us. From Apple Podcasts to iHeartRadio and many platforms in between, we are there. Just enter the Tech Mobility Podcast in the search bar wherever you listen to podcasts. Social media. It's the place to be, and we're no exception. Hi, I'm Ken Chester, host of the Tech Mobility Show. Several times a week, I post to TikTok several of the topics that I cover on my weekly radio show. It's another way to keep up on mobility, technology, news, and information. I've built quite a library of short videos for your viewing pleasure, so be sure to watch, like, and subscribe. That's the Tech Mobility Show on TikTok. Check it out. When it comes to purchasing a vehicle at your local car dealership, usually the only interaction with the dealership's F&I department, and that stands for, in case you didn't know it, finance and insurance, is usually once the deal's been made and financing is being discussed. After you've met the manager and they shepherd you into a room, and the person who usually fills out the paperwork and lets you know, sign here, sign there, people handling that level of the paperwork are usually the finance and insurance folks. They're also the folks that if you finance through the dealership, those are the people you'd be working with. Fun fact, 85% of all car loans are actually written at the dealership. A lot of people do that. However, there are new products available that they want to discuss with you at vehicle purchase. They're driving a new profit stream. They want to push it. We review some of those offerings. This is topic B. Let me start with the two usual things. There are three things normally, and that's still their big push. Number one, they want to go to the bank for you and see if they can get you a better rate, lower down payment, better terms. And as I've always told folks, you shop the money just like you shop the vehicle. So that when you get to the dealership, you already got an approval in your pocket. However, if the dealership, either through their relationships with the bank or their captive finance company from the automobile manufacturer, can offer you a better deal, at least you'll know it and be able to take it. But if they don't, if you've got a better deal from your bank or credit union, you can do that. The difference is that the loans they write at the dealership, they make money on. There's an additional pocket of money for originating that loan. As opposed to you bringing a loan in or paying with cash, that's money not on the table. The second way they make money normally is called the service contract. They want to sell you some sort of maintenance contract or free, oil changes for life or something like that. Here's my beef with that. In most cases, it is almost total profit for the dealership. And if you hadn't noticed, if you haven't bought a car lately, when they talk about these, suddenly those numbers are extremely negotiable. Yeah, anytime that happens, you should be warned. My take is very simple. Try to buy the highest quality, cost-effective price vehicle that you can afford. Do the research, check consumer reports, go out to the Google, go out and find out what kind of problems, if any, that particular make and model and year may have that you need to be aware of. And you try to avoid this stuff is problematic. Most vehicles today, and I do mean most, regardless of who made them, if you take care of them from the day you buy it, if you buy a 2025 anything today, there's no reason why you can't still be driving it 2040. And I'm talking 250, 275, maybe 300,000 miles on it, and still driving it and been paid off for years. Vehicles are exceptionally well made today. Don't let anybody tell you different. Don't get scared by these aftermarket service contract ads that you see on TV. It's a scam. They want your money. And honestly, if the vehicle is that defective, it may qualify for a buyback under a lemon law. If you're blowing an engine or transmission, or there may be a technical service bulletin, unless you are just hard on vehicles. Now, here's the last one. It's called gap insurance, guaranteed asset protection. Now, gap insurance, in case you don't know how that works, gap insurance is usually for the first 2 to 3 years of your car payments, you owe more than the vehicle's worth. On average, and we're talking a 5-year loan, on average, it takes 3 years for you to cross the line to where what you owe is less than what the vehicle's worth. For the first couple of years, you're going to be what they call technically upside down. By buying gap insurance, what happens is if a year and a half from driving it off the lot, you're in an accident, vehicle's total. Your insurance company pays actual cash value. In other words, you had 25, 30,000 miles on it, and the condition of the vehicle, that's what they pay you, but you can't replace it. There's still a gap between what they paid you and what you owe, and it could be $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 difference. Well, guess what? You're liable for that even though your vehicle's been totaled. And even though the insurance company paid you, if there's a gap between what you owe and what it's worth, that's on you. Here's something you didn't realize. The dealerships will gladly sell you gap insurance, and I love the principle of gap insurance. But here's something they won't tell you. I'm going to. You can probably get it for less money, wait for it, from your insurance agent who is insuring your vehicle. If you're considering gap insurance, and if you're buying a new car today, you should be. Get the price from the dealer, get the price from your insurance agent, find out who's got the better deal. Like I said, shop everything. These are the typical 3 items that F&I typically goes for. But in addition to all of that, they will make a pitch for prepaid maintenance, key pair replacement. Here's one that's really popular, tire and wheel protection. And this is over and above the warranty that the tire manufacturer gives. And this kind of depends where you live. If you live in the deep country and you are way, way off road and tires get beat up and rims get tore up, that might be money worth spending. If you drive 12,000 miles a year on relatively decent roads, then probably not. But that is one they'll gladly sell you, but you have to look at whether or not it makes sense for you, really makes sense. They'll scare you, but you need to determine, if I'm driving on normal roads, highways and stuff, and the potholes ain't too bad, not so bad. But if I'm in Chicago or Boston, I might do this because the roads are horrible. And I bent a rim in Chicago. I came around a corner, hit a pothole, bent the rim. By the grace of God, it still held air, but bent the rim. The rim was no good when I got it to where it was going, and they took a look at it. They said, Ken, you bent the rim. What? You bent the rim. What? Blew my mind. I haven't done that in years. Security. all kinds of security, extra systems, extra protection, cybersecurity stuff. Again, check with your insurance agent. Here's a thing that they may try to get around this. And they'll use colorful names, the Patriot package, the Freedom package, the, bumper-to-bumper protection package. They like bundling, which would contain several of these different products all in a bundle. But let's be real here. What you're talking about per these contracts are thousands of dollars. Now, the way they'll try to ease the pain for you, we can roll that into your car loan and up your payment. You don't feel the pain as much, and they walk away with big-time profit because these are new profit streams for them. I'm not saying the products are not worth considering. I'm saying get all the facts and maybe shop them too. Or if you feel the dealer's got the best deal, guess what? All of them I just mentioned are negotiable, all of them. So if you want to do it at the dealership, don't be afraid to negotiate. Just because they tell you it's X, you might press them a little bit. You might find you could save $200, $300, $400, $1,000 on the package at the dealership if it's something you feel you want and it has certain attributes you feel are worth your time. So, how do you like your coffee? Gen Z is flipping the script on how coffee is consumed. We are the Tech Mobility Show. To learn more about the Tech Mobility Show, start by visiting our website. Hi, I'm Ken Chester, host of the Tech Mobility Show. The website is a treasure trove of information about me and the show, as well as where to find it on the radio across the country. Keep up with the happenings at the Tech Mobility Show by visiting techmobility.show. That's techmobility.show. You can also drop us a line at talk@techmobility.show. Did you know that Tech Mobility has a YouTube channel? Hi, I'm Ken Chester, host of the Tech Mobility Show. Each week, I upload a few short videos of some of the hot topics that I cover during my weekly radio program. I've designed these videos to be informative and entertaining. It's another way to keep up on current mobility and technology news and information. Be sure to watch, like, and subscribe to my channel. That's the Tech Mobility Show on YouTube. Check it out.
Are you tired of juggling multiple apps and platforms for meetings, webinars, and staying connected? Look no further than aonmeetings.com, the all-in-one browser-based platform that does it all. With AON Meetings, you can effortlessly communicate with clients, host virtual meetings and webinars, and stay in touch with family and friends, all in one place and for one price. Here's the best part. You can enjoy a 30-day free trial. It's time to simplify your life and boost your productivity. aonmeetings.com, where innovation meets connection. Get started today and revolutionize the way you communicate.
Social media is the place to be these days, and we're no exception. I'm Ken Chester of the Tech Mobility Show. If you enjoy my program, then you will also enjoy my weekly Instagram videos. From the latest vehicle reviews to timely commentary on a variety of mobility and technology-related topics, these short features are designed to inform and delight you. Be sure to watch, like, and follow us on Instagram. You can find us by typing the Tech Mobility Show in the search bar. Coffee, regular or decaf, black or with cream and or sugar, hot, iced, my word, frou-frou or not. First, full disclosure. My name is Ken. I'm a coffee snob, but I'm an old school coffee snob. While my daughters and my wife like some of the frou-frou stuff, my wife hasn't wrapped her mind around iced coffee. My daughters, however, have. I can't. I mean, iced coffee for me is right up there with decaf. Like, why? Just why? No. And as far as creamer, I love my creamer, but keep the hazelnut, keep the French vanilla, keep all that other weird stuff you got. I just want half and half. Half and half. I do like a lot of sugar. My kids will say, oh my God, yes, I do. So as you can tell with me, and we won't even talk about the different coffees I have at home, everybody's got a preference. And I just spoke with mine. And speaking of preference, it seems that Gen Z is on a totally different page. These kids just weren't raised right. As a group, they like it cold, sweet, and loaded with creamer. I got a question. Is nothing sacred? Coffee, really? This is Topic C. I thought with everything going on, we could kind of use a topic as kind of a mind cleaner, kind of get away from some of the typical tech mobility stuff we talk about. I wanted to do something fun. I love my coffee. And I got into that habit in college. And yeah, I'm one of those. I need my cup in the morning. I don't drink a lot of coffee. I drink maybe 1 cup a day, 2 at the most. I've got friends of mine that if they could get it intravenously, if somebody could start a coffee drip directly in the vein, they're all in. And I've got some of my friends, they drink it black. They drink a lot of it. I'm not that way. My stomach would rebel if I tried to drink it black and tried to drink too much. But I do love the taste of coffee. Still do not understand decaf. I'm sorry. And half calf, why? Why? Please, why? Makes no sense. This article is, I believe, from Fast Money. And let me get yes, it is Fast Company. I'm sorry. And it starts with, if you want to instantly reveal your age, just order a hot black coffee. It talked about how Gen Z is flipping the script. For a lot of young drinkers, that very first cup of coffee was just as likely to be iced as it was hot. And here's the thing. 85% of Gen Z coffee fans are adding creamer compared to just 70% of coffee drinkers overall. That shift in taste is making waves in the industry. Nestle, for example, has been rolling out new products just to keep up, from cold dissolving instant coffee to liquid espresso concentrates and all kinds of flavored toppings. Let me stop you. If it ain't half and half, I'm not interested. I'm not down with all the fruit. In fact, I get frustrated. Go to a restaurant, and they got all these single servings. All I want is half and half. I don't want hazelnut. I don't want French vanilla. Can I get some half and half, please? And in a perfect world, if you had straight cream, I'd even be there. Nestle spent $675 million to build and open a new plant just to make creamers. And right now, they're grappling with grocery stores because grocery stores often have creamer in one place and coffee in another place. Now, full disclosure, if you are buying a liquid creamer, chances are if it's dairy-based, it's in the dairy department and it is chilled. Meanwhile, your coffees are going to be in your breakfast aisle. So I don't know how Nestle is going to make that conversion. Now, if they want to dry, like now, your dry creamers or your non-dairy creamers are there next to the coffees. But where Nestle's going, they would have to develop a shelf-stable, non-refrigerated creamer if they're going to do liquid. But what they're talking about, Gen Z is even going back. Instant coffee is enjoying a renaissance. And instant coffee, for those of you that may not know what it is actually freeze-dried coffee, which was a big deal. And one of the big names back in the day was Taster's Choice. And they talked about it was Taster's Choice freeze-dried coffee. But your average coffee snob today would turn their nose up at freeze-dried coffee. Nestle's embracing it because they can add flavors to it. They can manipulate it. Like we talked earlier, cold dissolving instant coffee, liquid espresso concentrates. I've had espresso in Italy. I was up for 3 days. No, I'm good. Do not need that. No, I don't do lattes. That's my wife. I don't do that. I don't do all this crazy stuff with a pump of this and dash almond milk and 2 pumps of that. And yeah, my wife likes her white mocha coffee. No. For me, I will take a nice smooth cup of coffee, dash of creamer, a lot of sugar. I'm good. It's all I need. But they're not building these factories for me. They're saying Gen Z's taking the whole industry into a different direction. And the article goes on to say, we've done a lot of things in cold coffee the last 2 years to really meet this need of Gen Z and young millennials. And this is Daniel Jehung, president of Nestle's USA Beverage Division. This is a big trend that we're pushing into. And whether you know it or not, right now, according to the industry, the coffee world is booming, and the opportunity to innovate while still providing value for a broad spectrum of consumers makes it a fun time, they say, to be in the industry. Now, I do have my own coffee grinder. And yes, I do use Keurig cups. And in fact, I have reusable ones with disposable filters. That's how much of a coffee snob I am. And I have 3 different kinds of regular coffee sitting on my shelf in my kitchen that I will drink from regularly. And my favorite one is actually minority roasted here in Des Moines called Black and Bold. That is my number one go-to when I want a smooth cup of coffee. And it's amazing. If you haven't had it, you need to try that. And no, they're not paying me. So that's just an unsolicited endorsement. One of the reasons it made sense for Nestle to unite coffee and creamer under one team is because there's such a natural connection between these products now. Or as the president of Nestle USA likes to quip, what's more Americana than peanut butter and jelly or milk and cereal? It's actually coffee and creamer. And according to the article, data from a industry company backs this up. Coffee and creamer are purchased together 60% of the time versus 40% of the time for milk and cereal and 20% of the time for peanut butter and jelly. Be still my heart. Peanut butter and jelly only gets bought together 20% of the time. Where have we gone wrong? While it's easy to offer coffee and creamer bundles to online shoppers, in bricks and mortar, and we just talked about this, grocery stores, coffee and creamer offerings are often found in far-flung aisles. This is the point of friction between Nestle's heard about from consumers. Okay, Nestle, what you need is to do something else. We've come to the end of our visit. Be sure to join me again next time right here. This has been the Tech Mobility Show.
The Tech Mobility Show is a copywritten production of Tech Mobility Productions, Incorporated. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, or any other use is prohibited without the written consent of Tech Mobility Productions, Incorporated.
For those of you that listen to podcasts, we have just the one for you. Hi, I'm Ken Chester. Tech Mobility Topics is a podcast where I upload topic-specific videos each week. Shorter than the full show, these bite-sized programs are just the thing, particularly if you're interested in a particular topic covered on the weekly radio show. From Apple Podcast to iHeartRadio and many podcast platforms in between, we got you covered. Just enter Tech Mobility Topics in the search bar wherever you listen to podcasts. Social media. It's the place to be, and we're no exception. Hi, I'm Ken Chester, host of the Tech Mobility Show. Several times a week, I post to TikTok several of the topics that I cover on my weekly radio show. It's another way to keep up on mobility, technology, news, and information. I've built quite a library of short videos for your viewing pleasure, so be sure to watch, like, and subscribe. That's the Tech Mobility Show on TikTok. Check it out. To learn more about the Tech Mobility Show, start by visiting our website. Hi, I'm Ken Chester, host of the Tech Mobility Show. The website is a treasure trove of information about me and the show, as well as where to find it on the radio across the country. Keep up with the happenings at the Tech Mobility Show by visiting techmobility.show. That's techmobility.show. You can also drop us a line at talk@techmobility.show. Do you listen to podcasts? Seems that most people do. Hi, I'm Ken Chester, host of the Tech Mobility Show. If you've missed any of our weekly episodes on the radio, our podcast is a great way to listen. You can find the Tech Mobility Podcast just about anywhere you can enjoy podcasts. Be sure to follow us. From Apple Podcasts to iHeartRadio and many platforms in between, we are there. Just enter the Tech Mobility Podcast in the search bar wherever you listen to podcasts.